The abundance symbol starts series 1 because it is a geometry that sets the foundation of thoughts of a positive kind that say, let's begin to heal. Abundance speaks of a knowing of now of a truthful kind, where a person does not listen to past at all, and instead they allow themselves the opportunity to hear only that which is right for the now time that they exist in, so that they surrender their waste. Abundance is a symbol that tells the mind to be presently aware only, and to let go of all false perceptions, all narratives that this person is a part of mentally, and all lies that they are telling themselves, so that their concentration is set on evolving that person's all. This geometry is one that convinces the mind to take a break from thinking thoughts of relentless kind, that take it to a place of negativity, so that it can relearn of the current moment again if it has become baffled by confusion. Sometimes the mind needs a reset from looping thoughts and ones that make it go round in circles, where it thinks the same thoughts continuously, so that it can better deal with all of its awarenesses. However, the mind can remain stuck going round and round if it is holding on to trauma in the form of the energy of past. This causes it to take another look, and then another one after that, which results in more continuous thoughts of the same kind that only make it worse when it comes to it perceiving the now. What needs to happen is a purging of waste from a time of a shock occurring, as well as for more chi to be installed into the mind's field of energy, so that it can think abundantly about the present moment. This allows it to kick out any bothersome thoughts or traumatizing ones, or thoughts from a time of duress, so that a calm ensues and that person is powerful again on a level of response. When this change takes place, it is then easy for the mind to perceive correctly again, as all of the sensory elements will have had their old knowingness cleared out of them, such as visual distortion brought on by stress, or even a vision of something bad happening that stunned them. Whatever it is that is prompting the mind to look at it, and it becomes shocked by old truths, old experience energy, or biological matter from traumatic events telling it something harmful, this will be removed by that person's mind being abundant again. When the mind is looping constantly without reprieve, it can make a person jumbled in their awarenesses, in a way where confusion comes to them about what time of life it is, which leads to associations to the past being a big problem for them. Instead of them knowing what is going on a level of thoughts of a truthful kind, their past will bleed through into their conscious awareness, telling them corruptive information. This can cause paranoia and phobias to activate, as well as irrational fears about any manner of things, all because a past time of threat is telling them what to believe. This is where the abundance symbol can help, because it corrects all thoughts to ones of reality, so that the past can be let go of with ease. It is a symbol that straightens out the mind's perception, so that it only focuses on the truth of the now, and it lets go of all false reality matrix, if this happens to be a problem, as well as all perceived truths of a wrongful kind, and all manner of corrupt thoughts made in a time of duress. The mind can sometimes be dictated to by old mass of a harmful kind that speaks of delusion, or illusionary thoughts had under the influence of something that changes the perception, such as alcoholic beverages, medications, or drugs. This, of course, warps the mind's ability to be 100% truthful, as it no longer has a steady grip on the here and now of reality, and instead it is swayed easily, and it is cajoled into a false state of relaxation, which can then make it pliable and malleable to suggestion. A person can then believe things of an untruthful nature, or they can lie to themselves without meaning to, or worse still, they could even have some kind of episode where they are deluded in their mind if they consume too much or too many things at once, leading to unconscious behavior. This kind of energy of thought from past times of thinking in an abnormal way can build up in the mind's field of consciousness, making that person know themselves according to that mass of wrongful thoughts. This can then alter the perception to be skewed in a way where loathing or self-hatred or spite towards the self is a problem for them, if an ordeal took place while they were under the influence of narcotics or other. This would lead to self-punishing behaviors becoming a problem for that person due to a subtle awareness plaguing them that tells them harmful content about a bad thing happening or something of the sort. What needs to happen is for all old thought mass of any kind to be moved away from the mind's center point so that it can think normally and rationally again, as well as in a rightful way where it is aware of the present moment. This then stimulates it to kick out all corruptive databases where it thought the wrong things continuously for a period of time, which results in it changing its beliefs about self. Sometimes a person can go through shocking ordeals while they are under the influence of a substance, and it leads to fears amounting that sculpt them into somebody different. This is because they lost their will in a moment of confusion, or they became baffled about what was going on to a significant degree, leading them to adapt to thoughts of hopelessness, or them being convinced that they were about to come to harm, or something similar. This can then compromise the immune system in a way where it begins suppressing its chi, as it is waiting for the moment of impact or some kind of action or event where fight-flight response needs to be initiated. It waits until that person is free from the experience before calming down the body with thoughts of, this time of stress is over with. However, if that person is deluded in their mind on drugs or too much alcohol, then it is possible that they never receive the message that a shocking event has concluded, and they can go back to living their life normally again. Instead, they will remain in a state of freeze or fight-flight initiation or powerlessness from then onwards, due to no communication happening between the mind-body allness. This then causes a multitude of awareness issues where that person is afraid all of the time because internally no conclusion has been come to where the body knows to relax again after a fright came to it of some kind. When this type of problem arises, that individual can then self-destruct and become unstable mentally, as an old time of something stressful going on is repeating in the mind, telling them unhealthy information. This is why this symbol is so powerful at healing an unruly mind that believes the wrong thing, because it makes a person see the world correctly again after confusion. It stabilizes the truth of the mind in a way where it is centralized and communicating with the I am's force field of knowing, so that both parties work together to find a solution to all of the problems that are going on with that person's awarenesses. The abundance symbol is something of a corrector of all that is wrong, so that a person thinks healthy thoughts after some time of them doing otherwise. It is a symbol that defines the now in a powerful way, where no part of the mind goes against the flow of life, and instead it welcomes it into the mind's totality of energy to become it on a level of thought. The mind needs to do this in order for it to be willing to clean up the awareness states, so that they no longer hold deluded or warped or strange and untruthful knowingness anymore, and instead they speak only of the truth of the now moment and no other. The mind uses the I am to tell it what to believe once old waste has been gotten rid of, and then the mind, coupled with the I am, goes in search of all that needs to be known to that individual about any problem that they are having with being the person that they are. This results in all of the troublesome energies of a corrupt kind finally being seen by the mind after its confusion and delusional thoughts taught it to ignore unhealthy mass for some reason. This triggers a chain reaction of events to occur, where the mind then sees, oh, I'm holding on to a pastime of the loss of will, and I need to let this go in order for me to be powerful again in all ways possible. And this then stimulates an awareness change where it adapts to the here and now. When the mind lets go in this way, it can result in many changes going on within the psyche, where that individual no longer thinks themselves to be a terrible person, etc., because old mass has stopped ruling over the mind. Self-loathing can cease to be a problem, and self-hatred can be let go of, all because the mind is now listening to the correct information again that tells it to be empowered. Abundance straightens out the mind's thoughts to be linear again, after jumbling and scramble have become a problem for it. It can change the perception to one of a rightful kind, even if this person is unwilling or defiant for one reason or another. It is a symbol that makes people know how they feel currently, which is usually significantly different to how they once did in a moment of trauma, so that they can return to being aware of the present moment again within their heart. Instead of them holding grief and unsureness within their field of heart center, which is a consciousness body in the center of the chest dedicated to stabilizing the mind, they will come to realize that they are full of all that they need to forgive themselves for any wrongdoing if this is something that they are having issues with. Some people hold on to remorse and self-hatred due to something bad happening that they had no control over while they were under the influence of something, for example, and this can lead to significant problems with them ever living their life normally again from then on. This is due to a heart that is stuffed full with regret and shame and all kinds of self-loathing, which dampens down the heart's ability to be powerful. However, when a person learns about the abundance symbol's features, it can make their heart surrender old mass that speaks of trauma without them having any fear of doing so, simply because it is back in contact with the mind again after some time of being disconnected. When this happens, powerful shifts can occur, where the mind lets go also, leading to a multitude of changes taking place in the consciousness of being. When the mind and the I am speak as one force of truth, and the body becomes aware of it, it has the power to turn on all of the lightful chi in the body in a way where it stimulates transformative energies of release, so that all of that person is purged of their wasteful energy. When both the mind and the I am say the same thing, such as that an old time of grief is over with, every part of that person listens intently to this new message that is coming out of the head, without any restriction, and they adapt to the idea that healing should take place. This causes a multitude of different actions to occur, where that person no longer thinks in the same ways that they once did in any part of their being, so that as a whole, that individual's totality lets go of all that is past. This is the kind of magic that can take place with an abundant mind being active in the body. It can make that person joyful in every part of them that thinks thoughts of conscious awareness, which releases all content that speaks of disempowerment or threats from past times of life. This is all possible due to the mind recognizing that it is now safe to let go of a shock or an ordeal that made it stunned into submission, which allows all of the body to do the same. When a person goes through a change like this, where they learn of the present moment again, it can make miracles happen inside of them, where the old is no longer listened to, no matter how powerful its voice has become, and instead, all of the world of now speaks into that person to tell them who they are. This means that this individual no longer listens to pain and suffering on a level of awareness, and they switch over to a new sound that is coming into them that is known as the presence of being. When the mind does this, where it begins to hear the call of nature and the world around the body, it can have a profound effect on the psyche, where it decides to clear out its old databases of stored information and release all of the things that it was worrying about after it was triggered to do so. It then purges old worries and fears from past times of life, and in doing so, it then allows more chi into the body to increase the overall health of that individual. When the psyche improves the health chi, and it allows growth to occur in the consciousness of being, that person can then feel in ways that they have not done for a very long time, all because new life material has entered the physical form that communicates a truthful now. This is all that is needed for that person to then try something new, or to dare to be different again, or for them to go back to doing something that they once loved due to a renewed sense of confidence coming to them from evolution taking place on a level of chi. The abundance symbol sets the stage for transformation to take place on any level of being necessary, so that this person can reboot their energetic system after destabilization. It makes the mind powerful again after shock has caused it to become unruly, as well as it also telling every component of self to recover from any ordeal that it has ever been through, so that all of the being mass is willing to work towards a better future. Abundance starts the chain of thought that says, I want to be different in my mind, so that my body heals from trauma, which then makes that person open to the idea that they can get over anything that they have ever been through. Abundance helps the mind to be healthy and positively focused, as well as mindful in a way where it sees accurately that there is hope and that changes can be made to empower that individual, so that it frees itself from being chained to the past. It makes a person aware of something new and inspiring, so that their mind is willing to give up whatever it thought of before that was negative, which then allows it to adapt to the idea that maybe I was wrong to think that my life was over when a tragedy struck, which then frees it of remorse and regret and ridicule. Just by knowing what this symbol's structure holds, you can let go of traumas that are built up in the mind's database of knowing. This takes place by you realizing where the center point of your mind is, as well as how it is used by the I am, and how both of these things influence every cell in the body, every movement of flow, and each and every component of your being. By learning of the abundance symbol's meaning and what it holds in its geometry, you can become a more powerful person who thinks in the right way and flows in their being so that your past is let go of with ease. You can rid yourself of pain and built up regret by you knowing what direction is best for you to move old energy in so that no part of you holds on to waste. And most importantly, this amazing magical symbol helps you to steady your thoughts in a way where if an old shock is standing on the path that your mind follows towards an intended goal, then you can shift it out of your perception and glide towards that experience with ease. This is because the I am can push this old mass of thought away from where the mind is visualizing the future, due to it being empowered to do so by a geometry that speaks of forward flow towards abundant thought. This symbol grabs a hold of the mind's conscious awareness, and it tells it to not pay attention to the stressful signals that are coming at it from stored memories or suppressed ones, so that it recognizes if the now moment is free from bad things going on. That way, it can know to try something new on a level of thinking thoughts of a positive kind, if that is what is right for the right now. Meaning that the mind learns of a new moment in time instead of it repeating an old one relentlessly, making it able to ascertain that it should not believe what it did in a moment of trauma. And once it becomes aware that it is thinking the wrong thing and that it needs to change its perception, it lets go of a mass of old thoughts that were telling it to operate in a particular way that was sabotaging that individual immensely. The mind recognizes, oh, I've been holding on to an old time of shocking things going on instead of me processing my now that is vastly different. And it then changes every detail of what it held onto as its truth so that it can perceive correctly again. This is when it dumps a load of old knowingness information, as well as the pain and suffering that this individual went through in a time of trauma. And in doing so, it learns of the current moment again in all of its awarenesses. This leads to change upon change going on in the mind, where it adapts to a truth that exists in the now, that says that the shock ended some time ago, and that this person is free to live their life normally again. This helps them to surrender even more waste material and more after that, until all old memories of stress are no longer dictating to the mind's entirety. All of this can take place when you know how to flow down your body properly, as well as how to exit waste out of the skin, and how to purge toxic matter out of your auric field so that none of this old truth speaks to you anymore. The abundance symbol spells out to the mind, via its geometric form, how to identify feminine flow energies over the masculine kind, as well as how to then use both of these things to break down old energy that speaks of a past time of life. It tells the mind how to look for higher chi that exists in the universal realm above the body, so that it knows something more about the current moment, in order for it to change its pattern of thoughts to ones of an evolutionary kind, so that it can free itself from thinking the same things all of the time, as well as it also outlining to that person's consciousness how to think down to the ground anything that it wants to get rid of, so that the being of that person only resonates with what is truthful for the right now of reality. This geometry makes a powerful statement that says, do this or you will suffer endlessly due to you remembering things that do not belong in your now. And when the mind recognizes that it has been having the same thoughts repeatedly, it follows the directions that the abundance symbol is telling it, and it moves away from itself anything that it has thought of before. This powerful sweeping away of old that occurs frees the mind of all perceptions grown in a traumatic time of life or during a shocking ordeal, so that this person is free to assess where they are at now as a result of all changes that they have ever been through. This allows all of the eyes energy of chi to become altered, as well as that of the nose, ears, and mouth. And even the head's entirety of energy can purge what it once believed to be true, if that is what is needed in order for growth to occur in the perception. Once this old knowingness no longer exists in the head's all, a person can go back to normal again and think in new, empowering ways, simply because no part of their sensory awareness is being triggered by an old time of life's memory mass. When the sense as a whole is freed of its remembrance of a shocking ordeal, that person can perceive the world around them again in a healthy way, where no fears corrupt what they believe. This helps them to assess each situation individually again, instead of everything going in the same basket, and trauma responses flaring up as a result of that person believing harm is around them when it is not. When the perception changes and it is cleared of all of what it knew in a moment of duress, it can wake that person up to a reality that they never knew before, which inspires positive and uplifting thoughts. This then has a knock-on effect where all of the biology changes, as does the DNA, resulting in the body's totality increasing its vibrations of health and vitality. A lot can go on internally when a person knows the truth of the current moment, as well as how they are faring in the world around them. And that is the gift of this particular symbol, an alteration of the perception so that the truth of now can resonate out of the body. You just need to see the right way and flow up and down and side to side with the correct thoughts being used to do so, and then you can rid yourself of any torment that you have ever been through on a level of memory mass leaving your physical body. This is why abundance is first when it comes to the sacred symbols of the stars geometries, because it removes any resistance to flow so that going forwards you are able to heal yourself. It takes away all stubborn mass that is polluting the brain's functionality, as well as all corrupt thoughts that deform the I am's ability to know the current moment, so that you always recognize that the old must go out of you in order for new chi to fill your being, so that you have enough energy inside of you to do all that you choose to on a level of evolutionary growth. That is why this is symbol number 1, so that you heal from all past ways of thinking that keep you scared, intimidated, under threat in some way, or unwillful in your mind, so that you are able to transform every bit of energy inside of you that speaks of the past.